Good evening and welcome. I would like to call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion from trustee Jackson. I need a second.
So moved.
I have a second by trustee Shola Barber. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, Secretary Hill, will you please take attendance?
All trustees are present tonight, and Dr. Slade is also present.
Thank you. Ms. Coney, it looks like we have some company in our house tonight.
Yes, we do. This evening, we will be recognizing students from 3 schools. We'll begin with our elementary students from Lincoln International Study Schools, and I'd like to introduce the principal, Deanna Roberts.
Good evening. My name is Deanna Roberts. I am the principal of Lincoln International Study School, and it is my honor and privilege to be able to recognize 10 of our brightest stars at Lincoln. So first, we have Naomi Cardona Garcia. Naomi is a 4th grade student, has excellent attendance all year, 96%. She's consistently attended 30-minute tutoring sessions with her teacher before school, and continues to improve her math and reading skills. She also follows the Roar expectations and has been recognized as Student of the Week. Congratulations. Now I would like to introduce Mrs. Horn. She is one of our kindergarten teachers, and she will announce the next person.
Jessica Felipe Garcia. She is a 3rd grade student, showing significant growth and improvement in reading this school year. She has 98% attendance this year. She attends Saturday school, and she always follows the Roar expectations and has been recognized as Student of the Week.
Next, we have Bibi Aisha Hashimi. Bibi is a 4th grade student, has had excellent attendance all year, 96%. She consistently attends tutoring sessions before school as well, and she follows the Roar expectations and has been recognized as Student of the Week.
We have one of my kindergarten students, Jakari Hudson, next. Jakari has excellent attendance this year, exceptional achievement in math and reading, and he learned a very great lesson this year in perseverance in writing, which has led him to be one of the most excellent kindergarten writers we have this year. I'm going to do the next one too. Another one of my kindergarten babies. We have Cameron Shuford. Cameron Shuford demonstrates leadership and great behavior every day. He is an extraordinary student in reading, math, writing, you name it, he knows it. Congratulations.
Next, we will recognize Lilu Sparks. Lilu is a 1st grade student who has had 100% attendance all year. She is on track and showing consistent growth in math, and consistently attended open library with her mom in the fall and continues to grow as a reader.
Damari Tolbert, 5th grade. He's on track, working at the 62nd percentile in reading. He has 98% excellent attendance this year, and he participated in the Global Reading Challenge in Spelling Bee and was recognized as Student of the Week.
Next, we have Damari's brother, Nivek Tolbert, who's a 3rd grade student, on track and showing consistent growth in reading and math according to FastBridge assessments all year, excellent attendance with 95%, and recognized as Student of the Week for his behavior.
We have Chance White, a second grade student. He is on track and showing consistent growth in reading and math according to FastBridge assessments all year. He has 96% excellent attendance this year, and he has been recognized as Student of the Week for behavior.
Next, we have Bibi Aisha Mayar. She's a fourth grade student with excellent attendance with 98% all year. On track in math, she participates in AT and also took part in the Global Reading Challenge. Her team represented Lincoln at the Branch Challenge as well. She always follows the ROAR expectations and has been recognized as Student of the Week. Congratulations. Oh, we have one more.
I don't think she's here.
Nope, who is not present, but we still want to recognize her. So last but not least, we have Tamarie Haywood. Tamarie is a fifth grade student with excellent attendance all year, 90%, has improved her behavior a great deal, and has been recognized as Student of the Week. Here are all our Lincoln Lions. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so Lions, you're gonna go that way and take a picture. So go ahead. So go that way.
And families, you are welcome to come up and take pictures as well.
Tighten the rows. Tighten up the rows a little bit if we could. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Over here, please. Chance, look here. Y'all know my baby don't feel good. Good job, Lions. Our second recognition this evening will be a student athlete from Kalamazoo Central High School, and I'd like to introduce Interim Athletic Director Greg Straka.
Board members and Dr. Slade, thank you for giving me this opportunity. In my position as interim athletic director, one of the things that I just love is meeting extraordinary people. And I would like to introduce you today to two extraordinary people. One of them is an employee of ours, our women's varsity head coach, Mr. Plunkett, is going to come and introduce our player that we want to recognize today.
And this is such an honor to be able to do this. This is a young lady that I've had on varsity since her freshman year. Taylor, you can come on out. She is a two-time All-State selection, according to the Detroit News, Detroit Free Press, and BCAM. She is also a two-time All-State, All-Academic team. And that's the thing I think I'm most proud of. Is like throughout her high school career, she maintained a 3.9 GPA. So in order to get that award, you know, you got to be on top of your game, both athletically and academically. People don't realize how hard it is to get that award. Because I nominated somebody else that had a 3.6, and they didn't cut it. So congratulations, that's awesome. All right, Taylor averaged 21 points and 9 rebounds her junior year on a team that went 20-2. Her senior year, she averaged 18 points and 8 rebounds, and she scored her 1,000th point at Detroit Cass Tech. And she's also going to be attending Grand Valley State on a full ride scholarship. People don't understand how much hard work went into that. Like, she was in the gym early on Saturday mornings, Sundays after church. She kept me busy the last 4 years. So I'm extremely proud of her.
Thank you. Good job.
And we will now be joined by Loy Norix High School Principal Chris Aganaga.
Good evening, Dr. Slade, Board of Education, guests. There are many facets to high school life that are important, not only all the curricular and academic portions of high school, but also the extracurricular, whether it's athletics and also student leadership, and also very importantly to me, community service. So tonight we're here to recognize members of Loy Norix's Key Club. Key Club is a student leadership and community service organization at Loy Norix. Its advisor, Allison Nelson, who's a science teacher at Norix, was unable to join us tonight. But the advisor and her student executive board nominated 5 students to be recognized, newer members of Key Club, for outstanding participation in the Key Club for so far this 2023-2024 school year. These Key Club members have stood out from the rest in their participation in community events, leadership, and character. Some of the events they've done a food drive, they have helped put on a dog toy drive, which I think is awesome, a coat drive, they've helped with community Easter egg hunts, and they are also going to be helping orient our new freshmen, incoming 8th graders, during our 8th grade visits that will be taking place later in April. So I'm going to introduce the students who are being recognized for their outstanding participation, and then we do have some of the executive board members who selected them who are here as well. So to start off, I'd like to first introduce Clarence McCants. Next, I'd like to introduce Andrea Villegas. And unable to join us tonight, our students Gracie Harris, Jade Haywood, and Sam Fletcher. Now, being that this is about student leadership, the executive board of this committee helps select these young people and help recognize them for their outstanding participation in community service at Loy Norix. So I'd like to introduce Micah Johnson. Amelia Gugum. Nada Isadoro Martinez. And also part of the executive board who are unable to join us tonight, Leland Wagner and Stephanie Garcia. Community service is very important to Loy Norix and to the student experience, so congratulations to this entire Key Club.
Families, come right on up to get your picks.
Hey, President Harrison. And President Harrison, that concludes our recognitions this evening.
Thank you. Our next committee of the whole meeting will be May 9th. Secretary Hill, do we have any correspondence?
We do. We have received 4 emails, one from Kiara. It helps if you put your last name on there, but we still respond because there's a first name there. The educator grant recipients was the subject, and I replied to that one. Joanna Miller, the KSP president, also wrote about the educator grant recipients and requested a meeting, and Dr. Slade and I replied to that. Mary Andrew from the Kalamazoo Parents for Clean Air about air filters sent an email, and I replied to that one. And Belinda Buchanan about implementing driver's ed in trade shop classes, and I replied to that one also. So thank you.
Thank you. The next is the consent calendar items. I need a roll call vote. I need a motion first,
It's an implied motion.
which is a roll call vote. Trustee Johnson? Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Shola Barber?
Yes.
Trustee McGlynn?
Yes.
Trustee Hill? Trustee Jackson?
Yes.
And I say yes. Mrs. Laura, can you please give us information on the purchase recommendations?
Yes, thank you, President Harrison. We have 4 purchase recommendations this evening. The first being 2024-34 in the amount of $39,823. And this is to purchase district-wide classroom bookcases. And this will be funded from the Facilities Management General Fund. Next, we have purchase recommendation 2024-35 in the amount of $182,750. And this is for the Summer Literacy Independent Reading Program. And this is funded from the Instruction and Student Services Cost Center. Next, we have purchase recommendation 2024-36 in the amount of $229,428. This is to purchase Tyler Drive hardware and software for school buses. And this will be funded from ESSER 3 funds of $191,990 and from the Transportation Cost Center, $37,438.
Is there any discussion from the board?
Oh,
Oh, I'm
one more.
sorry.
Sorry. The last purchase recommendation, 2024-37, is in the amount of $649,331.90. And this is for Kalamazoo Central High School AV upgrades. And this will be funded from the 2022 bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion from the board? Trustee Shola Barber.
I just want to point out a couple things, and thank you very much for your informing us. On 2024-35, I think it's important to note that this purchase, approximately 30,000 books, will allow all rising 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students to receive 7 books to read and add to their home libraries. I think that's to really carry the beat that we are a reading district, that literacy is important to us. And the last quick thing is thank you everybody who voted for the 2022 bond. This money would have to come from somewhere. These are needed things, so with the bond, we're able to not go to the general fund or go to the place where we get salaries and compensation from. So thanks to the community for supporting us.
I'm going to jump on
Trustee
that.
Hill?
Oh, sorry. You looked at me and I just rolled. my
Trustee Hill.
I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because the Summer Literacy Independent Reading Program, my nephew was in 3rd grade when this started. I think he's 23 now. So it's been around a long time, and it's really important. It means something to the kids, and a lot of time the teachers will take it farther, and they'll send, they'll send a postcard. Hey, looking for, how'd you like the book? Here, another one's coming. We'll think about it when they get back to class, and then they'll have time to talk about it when they come back. It's already a conversation for a bunch of students who come back, and they're all, oh man, I'm back in school. But no, now we got something to talk about. They're meeting new people. I just think it's a great program. I'm so glad we can do that.
Any other comments from the board? Trustee Murphy.
I just want to reiterate my thankfulness that we are able to update the technology for our bus drivers who are transporting our most precious cargo every day, so that the screens are blacked out and they're receiving audio prompts as they navigate the streets. As everyone recalls, there have been a couple incidents, as there are every year, with navigating the roads here in Kalamazoo with our students. So thank you very much for upgrading that. Additionally, with the integration into payroll so that our everyone is paid on time and accurately, that I'm sure makes everybody's day better, including payroll and HR. And I'm also glad to see that AV upgrades are taking place at K Central. I know that we've been going building to building, and I'm glad to see that K Central is next on the list. Thank you.
Next up is reports and recommendations. Superintendent Slade.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to talk about a subject that comes up a lot. I don't know if you're aware, but we have different meetings with different stakeholder groups that are employed with us, and also parents. So one topic that consistently comes up, sometimes parents will say, Dr. Slade, you talk a lot about what we're doing for the students who may need additional support, or the students who may be below grade level. What is the district doing for those students who may be on or way above grade level? So tonight, our directors of education, Dr. Dyson, who supervises elementary schools, Mr. McCain, who supervises all secondary schools, and Dr. Justice, who's over all curriculum and instructional areas, are going to present on our various enrichment opportunities that we offer here in the district.
So good evening, Dr. Slade, board members, staff, and community members. I'm going to briefly speak about our board-approved core curriculum resources and the enrichment opportunities that those afford for all of our students so that they can have equitable access. So our core curriculum resources for English language arts, which includes reading, writing, speaking, and listening, social studies, mathematics, and science for elementary and secondary students, allow for equitable access to content and equitable opportunities for all students to enhance their knowledge. Embedded within all the core curriculum resources are opportunities for enrichment of knowledge, critical thinking, deeper investigations, and application of knowledge to content. So this occurs through various opportunities, including but not limited to inquiry projects, discussions, and research. So since these are core curriculum resources, all students have access to each of these opportunities embedded into these curriculum resources. And that also includes the elective courses that are available for students at the secondary level. So Dr. Dyson and Mr. McCain will follow up with additional experiences for students in elementary and the secondary schools.
Thank you, Dr. Justice. Good evening again to board trustees, president, and superintendent. I'll give just a little bit of history, some changes, and future considerations. For over 20 years, the Elementary Academically Talented program has served gifted and talented students in grades 3 through 5 across the district. Students are identified based on test score, history, classroom performance, and teacher recommendations. For schools that typically had a large number of qualifying students in schools like Indian Prairie, King Westwood, Millwood, Parkwood, Prairie Ridge, and Winchell, an AT instructional specialist conducted weekly classes in ELA and mathematics at each building. Students attended these sessions for an hour per week. For schools that typically did not have a large number of students who qualified from those buildings were bused to a central location, previously CEC and now Lincoln, 1 day per week to receive an hour and a half of instruction in both ELA and mathematics, as well as an additional makerspace time. Additionally, the highest 5% of students from the district, mostly from the schools such as Winchell, Parkwood, and King Westwood, were invited to participate in the full avant-garde program at CEC. This structure existed until the spring of 2020. The staff of the AT program were becoming increasingly concerned that students from Edison, Lincoln, Northeastern, Washington, and Woodward were not well represented in the AT program. Those who did attend the program often dropped because they did not like the fact that they were pulled out of their building for a whole day to attend AT, or they felt like they didn't belong in the program. Additionally, in the fall of 2020, the avant-garde program was removed from the AT program due to the pandemic, a dramatic reduction in AT staff, and the remote learning schedule for students. This program was never recontinued to allow more students in other schools to have access to enriched programming. Students who would normally qualify for avant-garde were invited to participate in the traditional AT program instead. Beginning with the return to in-person instruction in the fall of 21, the AT program staff, along with our Instruction and Student Services Department, decided to implement changes to better address the needs of high-achieving students at our highest poverty schools. This included the creation of a new AT course called Curiosity Lab and a reallocation of staffing to directly serve students at Edison, Lincoln, Northeastern, Spring Valley, Washington, and Woodward schools. Another method was used to identify students from those schools for the Curiosity Lab program, and students were able to be moved in and out of the program as needed. Teachers wrote a new curriculum focused on exposing students to higher order thinking skills while also incorporating social emotional learning and visual and performing arts, and taught the Curiosity Lab classes at each building. Students and staff reported positive outcomes with this change, and the Curiosity Lab program was expanded further in 2022 to include a second year of Curiosity Lab called Curious Explorers, and then again in 2023 to include a third year called Curious Innovators. The third year Curious Innovator students now attend the full day program at Lincoln with students from the other schools. Last summer, our facilities team, the AT and Curiosity Lab teaching team, and many others successfully moved our AT headquarters from CEC to the third floor of our Lincoln International Elementary School. We now have AT and Curiosity Lab classrooms in 10 of our elementary schools. The Lincoln Elementary site is the AT headquarters, and students from 11 schools come for instruction 1 day per week. We currently have 433 students who receive AT or Curiosity Lab instruction in their home buildings and 180 students who receive instruction at Lincoln. It should be noted that since the creation of Curiosity Lab courses, the participation in the AT programming for students at Edison, Lincoln, Northeastern, Washington, and Woodward has nearly quadrupled, from 33 students in 2019 to 120 students in 2023. Dr. Lindsay Aker-Noakes continues to evaluate and assess the program using an equity lens. Having been a classroom teacher, mentor, coach, she's currently the coordinator of assessment evaluation in the academically talented program. Her passion for equity and opportunity spearheaded the vision to create the Curiosity Lab program and changing the way students are identified in order to reach a wider array of students. By changing the invitation, she was able to create a paralleling program to help students explore deeper thinking and encourage them to seek out challenging academic activities. This continuous program reflection, evaluation, and review aid in promoting and retaining student enrichment opportunities in KPS.
Thank you, Dr. Dyson. board members, President Harrison, Superintendent Slade. I wanted to talk about enrichment, exposure, and challenge, or increase in rigor at our secondary levels, and it really begins with a program referred to as ATIP through Western Michigan University, and that stems back in 1981 when the Upjohn Foundation and Kalamazoo College came into a meeting to say that students should remain enrolled and connected to their own school districts while gaining the benefits of a Johns Hopkins program. ATIP looks at students who score greater than 90% on standardized assessments, and then recommendations from teachers, counselors, or parents in conjunction with Northwestern's University Center for Testing and Development. Students take the SAT or ACT examination at WMU or at another local district. Testing window is December through April. Targeting groups of 6th and 7th. 8th grade's not on there because it would be unusual that they wouldn't capture an 8th grader that's in that percentile, and they're really working with those kids as 6th graders and 7th graders, getting them used to the rigor. Parents typically provide transportation to Western Michigan University, and I would say at the middle school levels, we usually have anywhere from, I would say 10 to 15 kids from each of the middle schools trying to get into ATIP. Again, funding costs, Western covers most of tuition, or 75%. The remainder comes from this very giving at-large community. Another strategy and important club and recognition is National Junior Honor Society at the middle school level. This is where kids begin to learn about grades having some meaning and grade point averages, and the importance of good study habits, importance of challenging themselves in advanced courses or not. And one other thing that I didn't add here, but we have advanced course opportunities for English and mathematics at the middle school levels. But this is really where we challenge and we get them involved in the 5 pillars of the National Junior Honor Society, being scholarship, service, leadership, character, and citizenship. So much of what happens in the building, this really becomes the pulse or the heartbeat of a school building climate and culture. So being a member, again, we're focused on getting our 6th graders acculturated to this process and the importance of being part of something. And then we really invite 7th and 8th graders. They fill out an application and go through the process. At the high school level, we have the National Honor Society as well. Again, being a member of National Honor Society shows that you are among the best students in your class, not just in terms of academics, but also in terms of leadership, service, and character. Next, we have the CAMSI, Kalamazoo Area Mathematics and Science Center. After 5 years of planning, CAMSI opened its doors in 1986, a gift to the Kalamazoo area marking the centennial of the Upjohn Company. The charter 9th grade class of CAMSI included 68 students from 12 school systems. CAMSI is a 4-year program capable of accommodating up to 300 students. We currently have 94 students from Kalamazoo Public Schools, and the remainder, 180 from throughout the county. Another program, Early Middle College, which is really governed by the Michigan Department of Ed. And then there is a formula that the school districts pick up and pay for the courses that kids are enrolled in. But early middle college, and if it's one thing we want parents listening or anyone in the community, we want to get this communicated to our 8th graders and 9th graders because of it being a 5-year program. May begin as early as the 9th grade, so it's important to communicate to our 8th graders, and is designed to allow a pupil to earn high school diploma while also earning 60 transferable credits towards a 4-year degree from a Michigan public or private university or an associate's degree from a community college. Again, I put the numbers up there. It's grades 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 for a total of 5 years. And the early middle colleges must have a formal agreement with at least one Michigan public or private to attain these credits. Next up, we have dual enrollment, which is also part of the MDE, and the MDE is charged to really get kids post-secondary opportunities, along with advanced placement, which is something that the district provides, and those courses are listed in the KPS course bulletin. But up to 10 courses overall can be covered under the Post-Secondary Enrollment Options Act. For a student that dual enrolls in 9th grade, not more than 2 courses, 10th grade, not more than 2, 11th and 12th, not more than 4, or a total of 10. How to? Students meet with their counselor and/or principal to discuss the eligibility and other aspects of post-secondary enrollment options. District covers costs based on a school aid formula. Participating in the area are KVCC, Western Michigan University, and approximately a number of students utilize either or early middle college. That's 30 that are in it for the 5 years. And then the others with dual enrollment, about 40 this year. Advanced placement courses, again, that's something we provide in our high schools, and we have teachers in there. We have, in 2023, 683 students participating in advanced placement courses, and that's the highest total since the COVID era. So you could find some low 700s if you go back to 2018, 2019. CTE and Education for the Arts, Career Technical Education, we have right now 306 students participating in those courses or programs. I identified ones that we have here in Kalamazoo Public Schools right now. And you know that a year from this coming fall, the community has the new Career Tech Center opening on Sprinkle Road. So we would be referred to as a satellite district hosting these programs, as would a Vicksburg hosting veterinary science and other programs hosting their but we offer automotive technology, construction trades at Loy Norix, business management, Loy Norix and Kalamazoo Central, the Teacher Academy at Loy Norix, marketing, Kalamazoo Central, accounting, Loy Norix and Kalamazoo Central, and informational technology. Education for the Arts, again, it's for high school, but if there are accreditation or if there are articulation agreements with participating schools and colleges, universities, kids can receive college credits as well as in addition to high school. Thank you very much.
Questions from the board? Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Hill.
This is from Mr. McCain or anybody that might know this answer. So my kids participated in some of these things, which was awesome, but at the time, they didn't have the middle college, early middle college. So you're there for 5 years, you get a high school diploma and 60 college credits?
Yes, so you would let's say as a student that started in 9th grade, they may graduate from high school this coming June, but then their 5th year, next year, they would be at the community college to finish up the program with their.
I'm sorry, this is so awesome.
Yeah,
Doesn't
is
it take like 120 credits to graduate, or is that like usually to get a degree in something? You're like halfway
120
there.
would be a baccalaureate.
Yeah.
Associate is 60, so sure. And a lot of these programs it's to keep, again, we talked about challenge, rigor, exposure, getting the kids, so it is quite a nice carrot, if
There's
you will.
things that build on, like as an LPN, that's so many credits, then you go on and get your RN for, registered nurse. And that's so they can build on their career with that base of an associate's degree.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
You bet.
Any questions on this end? Trustee Scholler-Barber.
I just want to congratulate on some of these programs. They're just amazing from 7th grade or from 6th grade on to the postgraduate, the early middle college. And that, one thing I think Trustee Hill made a very good point, but also that's free in many regards. There are the costs of, I don't know necessarily if there is kinds of additional fees in some courses that you would have to pay. But for the most part, the tuition and all those other costs are absorbed by the district. And so, to me, this early middle college especially, they're all wonderful programs, but the early middle college one is really a very practical one, getting your associates and then moving on to getting a really decent part-time job to work on your BA or BS or whatever. So thanks for sharing this.
Yes, and the barriers are additional costs like that,
Yeah,
but and the district picks up the tuition, and we have removed the hurdles of books at this point. So transportation may be an issue for other students. I'm not exactly sure, but thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Trustee Jackson?
Yeah, so my question I had, I seen it in the presentation, so can someone explain where it mentioned about teacher recommendations as one of the qualification? So can you give an example of like what that looks like when you say teacher recommendation?
Yeah, usually, past experience with ATIP, they may look at test scores, I said above the standardized test scores of a greater than 90%, but they will also take recommendations from teachers or administrators, counselors. As a secondary principal, this is the time, well, we would be working from January on getting students who are interested in CAMSI and getting them to have complete the application process, get teacher recommendations, get counselor recommendations. If they're in leadership around the community, get whoever their mentors would be, writing recommendation letters for that. And then, again, there's a board of individuals that look and scan and go select the kids that they believe will be most successful in the program.
So when we talk about this being like a rigorous type of like process, is there times where we feel that, are there like, I guess, do the district experience like students that may, like that choose not to, even if they're qualified, that choose not to be a part of these programs?
Yes, absolutely, and that happens more times than not, but if you take a CAMSI, for example, a lot of kids don't want to leave the comprehensive high school. They like the setting there. A lot of them go and they say, wow, there really is a lot of extra hours put into projects and working with other folks. ATIP typically goes through that up through middle school. Very few kids at the high school level would still yet be involved in the ATIP. They move into other tracks at that time. But yeah, it does happen quite a little bit. And it's not, it's not for every kid. We have a lot of great programs and a lot of great opportunities, and sometimes those additional stressors or pressures that we place on kids, I think you could back off and look for some other options.
Trustee Murphy?
Thank you. So, for example, if you had a child that maybe qualified for AT in elementary or in the middle school grades, and then stopped qualifying or opted out of those classes, that would not prohibit them from choosing AP or EMC in high school, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's
and
correct.
So, as far as EMC, that has a deadline to enroll, correct?
Well, they could take it as EMC, but to get the real benefits of the EMC, it's five years to get the 60 credits. If they start, we could take a sophomore or a junior, and if they're doing early middle college, they would essentially age out of that program as designed by the state of Michigan. So it's really critical to
They
advertise.
have to sign up their sophomore year. At the latest.
Yeah, at the latest sophomore. So we should be coaching up parents and students in our 8th grade middle schools right now, and then certainly in 9th grade, and really exposing this. And the community does a nice job of promoting that as well. Kay Risa has run some events. We'll run post or parent meetings, but you'll see us publicizing early middle college sign up or informational session about that, usually in the falls.
But that still, if they we're just hearing about that right now.
Yeah.
That would not prohibit them from doing dual enrollment.
That would not. And
because
again,
they're two separate programs.
two separate programs, yeah. And typically, you're going to find a kid, when I go through and look at an application for dual enrollment, and they're wanting to dual enroll because we maybe haven't offered that course at the high school, or maybe they've already blown through some of our advanced course at the high school and they need something a little more challenging. But you're absolutely right. You could join dual enrollment. And again, these are all state-sponsored by the Michigan Department of Ed.
And maybe CAMC was not something they were interested in because, as you mentioned, they don't want to leave their high school. But dual enrollment, once they get into their junior or senior year, might be something that is still going to help them, and they would still have access to the promise.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a great message to promote and keep pushing out there, too. So thank you. Other questions?
Trustee McGlynn.
I have probably a little bit more comments than questions, but one, I'm really glad to see a push towards more equity in AP, and especially at the elementary level, because I think it was really challenging for kids that were coming from different schools. So to really encourage that participation is important. And the 7th and 8th grade prep to honor society and get thinking about what happens when I hit high school, and now, the grades really, really make a difference. I think, building that up with kids is really, really important. My daughter went to CAMSI. She definitely had a love-hate relationship, I think, with CAMSI. But one of the things for her, she's a computer science engineer, and she works at Microsoft in Xbox. And she was never a gamer. That wasn't her intent, but when she went to CAMSI, there were programming classes. And she was always really good in math, but she never ever thought that she would go into programming. Yeah. And CAMSI gave her that opportunity. I hope we do a better job at giving our girls more opportunities everywhere when it comes to coding and that. But I will say that for her, she looks back at her years at CAMSI, really giving her a leg up into the world of computer science.
And so if no one else has any questions, I just have a couple of questions and comments also. First of all, thank you for the presentation. My first question is in regards to the elementary level. And if Dr. Dyson, if you could explain what avant-garde is probably the first, or Dr. Justice, if that's okay. Dr. Superintendent Slade, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just explain just a couple of things? It's just for one quick minute. Will you explain what avant-garde is?
So avant-garde, I believe at the time, was for 4th and 5th graders to participate in the higher level courses related to AT.
And then once that was eliminated, we opened it up to expand it to Curiosity Lab and Curiosity Explorers and Curiosity Innovators. And that's what we use currently, correct?
We still have AT. So the students that were, so we still have the AT program, but then we have the Curiosity Lab. So students in Simple did not feel comfortable kind of being bused over there, and they wanted to be at their own schools. So by us bringing it back to their home schools to begin, we were able to continue to grow AT.
Okay, and so that was what my question is. So would it be fair to say that the things that we innovated is what's going to build a pipeline that will allow students to then go to CAMSI?
Yes, ma'am, and interest, real genuine interest.
A genuine interest. And so will it be fair to say that soon we'll see more high-achieving, high-poverty students at CAMSI?
That's our expectation.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was was where we were going with this. And then, which takes me back to my other question, it's my understanding that Dr. Tanoff is retiring, so it is going to be really exciting to watch the way that we reimagine CAMSI, especially through a more equitable lens. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
At this time, we will have persons requesting.
Oh,
My apologies.
I want to thank Dr. Dyson, Mr. McCain, and Dr. Justice for a thorough presentation. We have a few announcements. There's a lot going on, as you know. I want to first thank all of the schools for a great first week of testing. I had a chance to visit, I would say 70% of our schools, just checking in with the principal to make sure everything has been going okay. And I haven't had one principal yet that hasn't had a positive response. So again, I want to thank all school staff members, parents, students, just for a great start for state testing. And I think I said it before, state test scores do carry some weight and they do matter. So it's great to take those seriously. Real quick, third trimester, academic focus. I know you get tired of me saying it, but as you know, I was a principal almost 20 years, and basketball season was around the same time as this time. And I always used to tell my students, this is full court press time as it relates to your academics, your grades, your report cards. This is the time you need to know, where do I stand? What do I need to do to make sure I have a successful end of the school year? So, and also say to parents, this is the time you really need to check and see your child's grades, your child's attendance, all of that. And if you need to speak to a teacher, anybody, we are available to do that. So again, the third trimester, we're getting close to the end, time to really focus and full court press and make sure that you're giving 100% every day. And I'm saying this mainly to students. As you may know, we just recently sent out more than 450 certified letters for attendance. I want to thank all the parents who have been showing up, and what we have been doing is meeting with parents in small groups of 10, 15, 20. I just want to emphasize that our attendance policy will continue until the end of the school year, so it is very important for students to continue to come to school every day. I do want to just recognize and commend the principal of Lincoln for kind of making a big deal about her students having those excellent attendance records. I think that was the first time I really heard that emphasized here, but again, I'm proud of, I'm more old school, 54, and it was a time when if you missed 10 days, that was a lot. I meet with students, we've been meeting with students all week. I want to appreciate Dr. Dyson, Ms. Saunders, everybody else that has been coming. 96 days absent, 78 days absent, 48 days absent, so we want to kind of reduce that. So again, and one thing that we've been pushing is, what support do you need from the district? So that will continue for the rest of the school year. Also, at the next board meeting, we will be talking about summer school. There will be some changes with summer school, as I've been saying all year, and the big change for the most part is that summer school will not be optional. It will be basically mandatory for a lot of students. That's going to be a big difference. Also, there has been a fee associated with summer school. We are removing that fee for summer school, so that's a big difference. And like we normally do when we have something new, we're going to have, once we talk about it, we'll have some meetings out in the community for folks who have additional questions. We did it for attendance, we did it for behavior, we did it for cell phones. So we always have follow-up meetings when we bring something new, and we'll do the same thing for summer school. Something that I'm used to doing, coming from Baltimore and DC, we would lose a lot of students over the summer. And when I mean lose, students who would not be coming back to school because of violence. So I said this earlier when I first started this school year, and I'm glad we had some stuff like this in place already in the district, but when we have our community meeting, after the meeting, I want to have a sign-up sheet because I want to be part of it. I don't mind being the chair of it, but I want to have something that I usually would call like a safe summer type of committee or group where we go out between the hours of like 8 to 12, 8 to 1. I'm going to try to work with the police department just to see how things work here, but normally it's a Friday, Saturday night when things are more prone to happen, and we just go out into the community where young people are, and we try to interact and talk to those people young people who are out in the community at that time of night and have conversation. there was a shooting in interfaith. I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but I was just in that neighborhood when that happened, and there were young people out in that neighborhood that time of night. So during the summer, and I know you're aware, last year I think was the most violent summer we've had in Kalamazoo. And again, I'm new, but we want to try to address that. I'm also going to say, and I'm going to have a real conversation with you. I know when I think it was the meeting we had at the Promise, it was first or second meeting I've had. I talked about something like this, and I passed out sheets for folks to volunteer. Nobody signed up. And I'm going to say to this group, I'm saying to the folks listening, you can't just talk about, and it's easy to come and point out this is wrong, that's wrong, let's blame this group, let's blame that group, but we have to be solutions-based and willing to volunteer and participate and help resolve some of the issues. So again, a big issue is violence for young people. So just going out, and I know we have a lot of groups, I think, doing that, Urban Alliance and some other groups. I know Trustee Johnson does a lot with the young people, but we could have 500 people who volunteer, and it's still not enough. So we're going to talk about this more, but I will put out an initial sign-up sheet. And again, I don't mind being the chair, but it would be great to have one or two co-chairs. And the goal is just to be out in the community at night, sometimes when this stuff is happening, just so, and everybody's not built to do that, no disrespect, but if that's something you're comfortable with, I would love for some folks to volunteer and work with us to make that happen. So again, I just wanted to say that here, and I'm going to say it again at the community meeting. It's important, and this is probably like the 10th time I talked about this, to make sure that everybody understands and follows the problem-solving chain of command. And I will say most folks have done a great job with this, but if you have a school-based issue, the initial person you should interact with and contact is normally the teacher. If that doesn't resolve the issue, the principal. If that doesn't resolve the issue, you go up to people like Dr. Dyson, Dr. McCain. If things are still not resolved, then you bring it up to the next level, which is myself and people like Ms. Saunders and Ms. Sheila Dorsey Smith. So I want to just reinforce that because it creates it's problematic sometimes if folks skip those steps. So again, I just want to remind folks that the problem-solving chain of command is something in place to make the process much easier. We're having a community feedback session. I talked about this at the last board meeting. This is something, again, I've been doing my whole career, and what it is a chance for anybody. We just had a meeting earlier this week, and that was for school staff. That was to discuss the educator grant. I want to thank everybody that came out for that. We had some honest, transparent conversation, 100% for that. That was only for school staff. This is for anybody that lives in this community. Can come to this meeting, and basically it's a chance for you to voice any concerns you have, or you may want to brag about something great, or you might just have a question. But I do want to just go over some of the basic rules, and that basically is that it has to be a professional, respectful environment. Normally during a given week, I might have 2 or 3 conferences. I go to a school and I meet with a parent, the principal, and I'm including the teacher now, and how that works is usually a concern in the class from the escalates to the principal. They've tried to resolve it many, many, many ways. It's not working, and they involve me. And most of those conversations have been about 2 things, either violent behavior or disrespect to adults. Those are the 2 big conversations that when I come to schools, which has been like more than 50, 60 times, it's about telling the student that you cannot walk into this school and be disrespectful to the teacher, to the para, to the lunch staff. That's the conversations that we have, but we have to model that behavior as adults. So I want to be very clear, and again, I've been doing this many, many years. We want everybody to be respectful and professional, because if you are not, you will be asked to leave. It's different than a board meeting. A community meeting is a little bit different. You have to kind of abide by the rules, or you will be asked to leave. And in my case, if it's extreme, you will not be allowed to come back to that type of setting. So I wanted to say that here, and we'll say it again during a community meeting. And one thing I did add at the very bottom, everybody is entitled to their opinion. Like, you just come up and say, you know what, Dr. Slater, I do not like the cell phone policy. I don't like the hoodie policy. I don't like I don't think Kamsey is this, or I don't think that, but please don't come to the mic and say something you know up front is 100% not true. It's best to bring factual information, because sometimes folks say things that they come to the mic saying it is not true, because we normally investigate when folks have concerns. I know when we're doing these attendance meetings, and the parent might say, and Dr. Dyson was there with me last night, and I said, if no one has called you at all this whole year about attendance, raise your hand, and some folks raise their hand. When I go back and follow up, and then the principal is showing me all these phone call logs and conference letters sent out and conferences that were canceled, just make sure you provide factual information. So that's going to be part of what we talk about at the community meeting. We're in the process, again, of having our strategic plan developed, and part of that includes coming to schools. We're going to go to every single school. We started that off this week, and during that time is a chance for anybody associated with the school. We're also going to do something in the community for you to share strengths of the district or the schools, weaknesses of the district or the school, threats and opportunities. So it's a chance for you to provide feedback. We have at least 50 of those opportunities coming up. And I do want to just thank all the staff involved, my leadership team, Ms. Coney, even the board. By the end of the year, we would have had at least 60 opportunities for folks to come and provide feedback. And from what I know, that's the most of any district in the state. I don't know every district, but you have to be honest and admit, have you ever seen a district provide 60 different opportunities for feedback? And if you come to the meetings that I hold, I say 2 or 3 things, and no question is off limits. I always say that, and I always say I promote real conversation. So as long as it's respectful, as long as it's associated with school or the district, we promote real conversation. We try to promote transparency. So if you have something you want to share, I strongly encourage you to come to the SWAT meeting associated with your school, or one associated with the community group. This is the form that you will have a chance to fill out during the SWAT process. Everybody who comes will have a chance to fill out this form, and then once we do that, you get to share out, and then you get to fill it out in a group setting. So it's a really good chance for people to connect and share their opinion and provide input. Also, on the next page, at the very end of the activity, we'll say, if it was up to you, what would be the 3 main goals or areas that the district should focus on next year? So somebody might say, I think we should focus on attendance, or focus on improving student achievement, or focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But this is your chance to provide what you think the district should focus on, and names are optional. We're saving every last document. It will be part of our strategic plan. And these are all the dates, and I know Ms. Coney and her team have sent this out more than once. We'll continue to share it so everybody has it, but there's a date for every school. In some cases, we're doing more than one event a day. These are the secondary schools, the dates. And these are, we're still planning more community opportunities, but these are the community opportunities where anybody from the community could come and take part in this process. I went to an excellent program last night where they were recognizing, and I actually got there, I was like, what is this program about? There's so many. They said, this is a program where we recognize the top 2% of students in the whole region, and that means Comstock, Gull Lake, Parchment, and these are the students who were recognized last night. I said I would make sure we talked about this today at the board meeting, and which was even better, the student had a chance to say, this is the educator who helped me, who motivated me, who got me to this point, and these are the educators who were recognized. And some of these folks, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. Okay, I don't see his name, but some of these teachers were recognized by multiple students. Some of the teachers came up to the stage 3 or 4 times. That's the effect and impact that they have on the students. Also want to just commend Kamsey. I was unaware that Kamsey has such a strong reach into the region, where most of the students who were recognized, even from Gull Lake, Parchment, Portage, they all also attended Kamsey, which is a big deal. So I want to just commend that whole entire CAMSI staff and the leadership and the great work that's happening in that building. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
At this time, we are going to take a small break, and we will resume in a few moments. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. At this time in our agenda, we will have persons requesting to address the board. Before I call our first person that's going to be requesting to address the board, I'd like to just gently remind you of Public Policy 1.2, which is the public participation during the meeting of the Board of Trustees. While balancing legitimate privacy interests of staff and students, the Board of Trustees welcomes community input at public meetings of the Board of Trustees. The specifics of that policy says that persons requesting to address the board will be asked to complete a sign-in sheet by the end of public comment period. The portion of that sign-in sheet requiring completion will include name, school district in which the person resides, and the connection to interest in the Kalamazoo Public Schools. The optional portion will be held private and will include mailing address, email address, phone number, topic about which they will be speaking, and if authorized and applicable, the organization they represent. The presiding board officer will invite persons to come to the podium in the order in which the sign-in sheet were completed. If after 30 minutes everyone who has completed a sign-in sheet has not had the opportunity to address the board, the public comment period will be tabled and resumed before adjournment. Speakers have 3 minutes each and must stop speaking promptly when signaled. Speakers may not address confidential student or personnel matters, but may submit such concerns to the board in writing. Speakers are encouraged to provide the board with a written copy of their comments and other appropriate supporting documentations, which will be copied and distributed as needed to appropriate staff personnel. The public is required to exercise common courtesy during the meeting and must follow the rules of order. The presiding board officer may terminate public comments that are profane, vulgar, or defamatory, especially if these comments result in a disturbance or breach of peace. Personal attacks against an employee or board member that are totally unrelated to his or her duties are prohibited. If a person engages in disruptive conduct or is out of order, the board presiding officer will strike his or her gavel and warn the persons to discontinue their behavior. Further disruptions will result in the person being asked to leave. Refusal to leave will result in being escorted out of the building. So, I want to welcome everybody tonight. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. Although I cannot respond, we will definitely be taking diligent notes and all of the things that go along with it. But the only thing that I'm asking is to please use the level of decorum that you would want someone to use with the most important person that is to you. So, with that being said, I hope I have this in the right order, but I don't think that I do. But everyone will get to speak. Chase Plate, please forgive me if I said it wrong.
On the microphone.
Hello. My name is Chase Platty. I am a graduate of KPS. I wanted to say that it is wrong for making excuses and refusing to include Kalamazoo support professionals in the benefit that will improve the quality of life for all educators and staff that work with students in KPS. It takes a whole team of different areas of staffing and job descriptions that are essential to the success of students. These educators who have specialized roles are essential to support a child's education, who serve children to make the whole school system work. This includes our custodians, bus drivers, all food service staff, our campus safety, paraprofessionals, and support professionals that care for and educate our students day in and day out. We should not have to be up here explaining this to all of you. There's no reason to exclude support workers from this educator's grant, and the community is standing behind all Kalamazoo support professionals who are having to perform a work action in order to obtain equal pay and fight for the ability to be paid fairly and provide for their families. We are expecting that you use your positions to make good decisions for the well-being of the whole Kalamazoo public system, which includes all of our staff who provide for our children. So thank you for listening, and please listen to my colleagues who are here to support Kalamazoo support professionals.
Thank you. Thomas Gregg.
Welcome, school board. I want to take a moment here to introduce myself. My name is Tom Gregg, and I am the Michigan Education Association union rep for a lot of Kalamazoo employees, including Kalamazoo teachers and Kalamazoo support staff, but also Kalamazoo Public Library. And I'm proud to say, as of 2 weeks ago, now the UNICEF director in KRESA for the first staff union there in their history. In their tech center teachers we organize, so I saw that on your agenda talking about the center there. I have been doing union work for 25 plus years. I counted up recently that I have worked in 54 different school districts. I've worked with over 60 superintendents, and obviously hundreds of other administrators at all levels. In my years, it's the last resort to come and speak to a school board on a controversial issue that's going on. But I feel like we don't have any choice at this point because the conversation's been cut off. So I'm here tonight to ask that the board investigate the facts, and hopefully reverse the position taken by Dr. Slade around the educator compensation grant. So on Monday this week, he unequivocally stated that while he knows he can give this grant money to all support staff, according to the rules of the state grant, he's choosing not to because he defines an educator differently. He defines an educator as a teacher. That was on his PowerPoint slide. Not bus drivers, building secretaries, campus safety, food service, activity helpers, on and on and on. So this flies in the face of everything that we know it takes to educate a child. So on this week, after Dr. Slade made it apparent that, very clear that this issue was done, he's not changing his decision, even though KSP filed a demand to bargain on this in the fall. It's a mandatory subject to bargaining. I sent the district's legal counsel notice that we want to return to the bargaining table, and if not, we consider that an unfair labor practice, and we will be filing that with the state of Michigan. Hopefully, the district decides to come back to the bargaining table and bargain in good faith over this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay Babcock.
Hello, my name is Kay, and I'm a community activist. To come up here and talk to you nice or any kind of way. I'm here because you're not doing the right thing. That's why. I wouldn't have to be here supporting the staff if things were going fair, if students were really getting treated fairly, but it's not happening. There is still about 2,000 homeless students that y'all forget. Pat yourself on the back for the students who are doing good, for the students that it's easy to help, for the students who are not having to sleep in class, who are not hungry, who are missing 45 days because they're homeless, in bad situations. Okay, the situation is dire, and you don't even want to pay the staff that has to deal with these children. You don't want to give them anything extra, not even a livable wage. They don't even make a livable wage. Okay, please. Like, people have come up here, actual students and staff, and pleaded with you all to do what is right. But you sit here, it sounds so like a tyrant to say that you made this decision by yourself when there's a whole administration, when there's a board. How could this happen? This is what's fundamentally wrong. There's a school to prison pipeline situation in the school. It's a crisis. The literacy rates are a crisis. And so, like, talking about the cream of the crop, it sounds so fake. It sounds like optics. It really is optics when you look at it, okay? And that's the reality. And if you don't want to hear the reality as it is, then maybe you should do the right thing. Maybe you should care more about DEI instead of pretending like you do, okay? Maybe you should care more about the students who are homeless, who cannot give anything back, who are going to challenge you when you try to help them because they don't have secure housing, because they don't have food, because they don't really have the resources, because HUD will not give them resources because they're doubled up, because of other barriers that you all miss when you decide to just criminalize kids or discard kids or worry about the cream of the crop, those who are doing good in testing, those who are there every day even if they're sick. Like, kids deserve mental health days. I don't know how you think that a kid should be at school every day or doesn't have the opportunity to miss a few days, especially if they're homeless. Like, this is who you are forgetting. You're forgetting the staff who does the most work with the kids, and you're forgetting the kids who are homeless. Like, that is the main focus right here. If you are not worried about that, and you're worried about how people come up here and talk, and what people say over here, and you call it slander, or you say facts, it's factual. 2,000 children in your schools are homeless, and you're not doing anything about it, just criminalizing them and putting those other children on top to cover up the mess that these schools are.
Thank you. Shona Espinoza.
you hear me? My name is Shona Espinoza, and I'm the Vice President of KSP. When you think of your narrative, you push that narrative off on everybody. If it's not your narrative, then it's a lie. It's not factual. It's not the truth. Your narrative isn't always right. When you have these meetings, you want to hear only your narrative. If somebody's up here speaking and letting you know something besides your narrative, then it's not factual. Then it's a lie. Then you disregard our intelligence. That's not a meeting. That is not a meeting. That is basically you bullying us into what you want to hear. That's not how that works. I'm asking this board to stand up and do what is right for your staff. This man, y'all need to show him that your staff matters. Your support staff matters. We are people. We are human beings. But you treat us as we're just a waste, a throwaway, no one that matters. When you talk about these significant raises that we got, we bargained those. We shouldn't have to have extremely high raises if this district did right by their staff and stop paying us poverty wages. We are all educators in our own way. We educate these children. Parents are educators. These organizations are educators. Community members are educators. But you think just a teacher is because that's a title. Teacher is a title. We all are teachers and educators in our own way. Do what's right by your staff and these babies, not your narrative. You came to Kalamazoo, and personally, I don't think you're the right fit for Kalamazoo. Our babies deserve better, and so do our staff. I'm a paraprofessional, and I'm a good educator. I be out in these streets with these babies and in these schools with these babies. So who are you to tell us who we are and not want to interact with us? Didn't you bargain your money that you got? We bargained for ours. So don't ever discredit what we do or insult our intelligence. Because at the end of the day, KSP, KEA, UAW are going to hold you accountable when you do our members wrong and our staff wrong and our babies wrong. Hold yourself accountable. Board, you need to hold the superintendent accountable. We deserve better. We deserve better, and that's why we come up here and we're angry. We're tired of getting talked to and looked down to. We deserve better. Hold this man accountable. You're his boss. Do your job.
Thank you. Alina Evans.
Alina Evans. I have a couple students in KPS. I'm not really sure if I can address what I originally intended to just because of the rules that you kind of talked about, because it has to do with my son. So I don't know if that's like a privacy issue. So I'll start out with the EMC program. My daughter participates in that. I didn't catch if Mr. McCain said that the district is covering books now, but they weren't while she was in the program. So that was something that, I don't know if maybe there's something we can do to help, but that was kind of a hardship during the program for us. You know, we did what we could to get the cheapest books and things like that, but I think that that might be something that maybe hinders more students from participating. And then transportation was kind of another one. While she was still enrolled in high school, it was easier for her to get on the bus, and there was a bus that took the kids to KVCC. It was kind of anybody that was going to KVCC could get on that bus. And so there was always one in the morning. I think there was a couple throughout the day, but then there was always one in the afternoon that would bring them home. But oftentimes the classes that she would have to take wouldn't necessarily be over by the time that bus would leave KVCC to get her back to Norix to then catch the bus back home. And I know that when she would meet with like her mentor, she would talk about like maybe taking the city bus or something like that. So that is an option, but that's a cost too. So if we do want to see more kids getting into that program, which I do think is really beneficial, it's really cool that she's gonna have her high school diploma and her associates in her hand at the same time. And then she'll get to go on and use the promise for 4 years. So anything that we can do to help students, we live in a high poverty area too. So, those are the kids that we're talking about tonight that we want to help. That might be something, if we can help with the books, if we could help with transportation. And then what I kind of wanted to talk about was that my son Darnell, I've shared about him before, and our journey in education. It's been hard. But the last incident that happened and why I pulled him from middle school and put him into virtual is because he was accused of threatening a staff member that he had a gun and wasn't afraid to use it, which is completely out of character for my son. I've asked if we could have that removed from his student record, and I've gone through the proper channels. I haven't emailed you yet, Dr. Slade, but I'm just wondering if there's something that could be done about that, if maybe we meet about that later time or something. Yeah, so my time's about up, so that'll be all.
Thank you. Magic D.
Good evening. I want to echo what has been said about the educator compensation grant, but I also want to step back a little bit about all the hard work, the transparency work that's been done. Where are the board packets that has like the budget and all that? Because it would be nice to follow along with some of the things, the items that are being mentioned during the board meeting. Also, the ESSER funds. I'm wondering how many positions will be lost once those funds have dried up? Because I know, listening to the report earlier, that a lot of it was towards technology. So that is a question. Dr. Slade, where is that sign-up sheet? I'll be co-chair with you, that Safe Summer Committee. Me and you, got you, okay? A lot of you on the other side of this podium know how I advocate for education and advocate with youth, support youth. So this is definitely something in my wheelhouse, and I am someone that is at your disposal. Use me. Let's get together. Another thing that I want to reiterate, and something that echoes that all teachers in the district need to have some of that money, custodians, campus safety, all that, is that there are assigned seats on the bus. That is a mobile classroom. If I've not heard one, I have assigned seats in my classroom. Most classrooms have assigned seats. So if that is not a way for a bus driver to know their students, they have to know the personalities to make sure that they are sitting next to another student that's going to get everyone there safely. So Trustee Murphy, I do appreciate you mentioning the technology that's going to be added on the buses, because that will definitely help our bus drivers, because they are the first students that see the bus drivers. So again, echoing, please revisit that conversation with the KEA, the KSP, and the other union, to talk about this money, because they are in the trenches. And one of the things that I want to just put out there is, how about we do something like In My Shoes? I would love to be in your shoes, Dr. Slade. I would love to be in some of your shoes and to see what roadblocks or challenges that you have in trying to make some of these changes. And then for you, you all would be substitute teachers for at a minimum of 3 days. No PR, none of that. You go into the classrooms and you do what the teacher, the things that teacher has to do. And this goes for the legislators that say things are going well in class. So In My Shoes, consider that, and thank you.
Thank you. Mary Andrew.
Hello, I'm Mary Andrew. I'm here as a representative of Kalamazoo Parents for Clean Air. The World Health Organization recommends that schools should be at least 2 miles from sites emitting air pollution. In Kalamazoo, there are 8 schools within 2 miles of the Graphic Packaging International Paper Mill. The EPA categorizes Kalamazoo's North Side neighborhood and East Side neighborhoods among the worst environmental justice hotspots in the entire country. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services released a report in 2023 stating that GPI's emission levels of hydrogen sulfide are a public health hazard, and they advised Kalamazoo residents to remain indoors when they smelled the air pollution. No other remedy was offered. One of the explanations for the lack of a plan to address the health concerns caused by the pollution was a lack of data. Despite that hurdle, neither EGLE, the Michigan branch of the EPA, nor MDHHS expressed any intention to collect the data that would be needed to inform a plan to eliminate toxic air pollution. Until that data is collected, there will be no path towards making Kalamazoo's air safe to breathe. As concerned caregivers of students attending KPS, Kalamazoo Parents for Clean Air addressed the school board in June 2023, imploring the board to install air monitors at each KPS school to give guardians in the greater KPS community information on the air quality our students are breathing. The board acknowledged the issue and expressed support for our concerns. We return now to announce that Kalamazoo Parents for Clean Air has secured funding through the Kalamazoo Community Foundation's Love Where You Live Environmental Justice Grant to purchase the first outdoor air monitor for KPS. Due to its proximity to the paper mill, we have chosen Lincoln International Studies School as the site for this first monitor. We look forward to working with Dr. Slade and facilities to install the monitor and to begin sharing its data with the KPS community. Thank you.
Thank you. Tristan Jessup.
Hello, my name is Tristan Jessup. I am an organizer with We the People Michigan Action Fund. I am a Kalamazoo resident and a former substitute teacher for Kalamazoo Public Schools. I worked at Central, Norix, Phoenix, and Hillside. During the winter and spring of 2022, I had a long-term position substituting for the special education program at Central. It was shortly after the lockdowns, and the need for substitutes was crazy high. During my time working in the Kalamazoo school system, not only did I struggle with frequent harassment from students for being a trans educator, but I also struggled to survive on the dismal wages provided for substitutes in this program.
Excuse
it
me.
was very...
Try to remove your phone from the, so close to the mic.
Yeah, I was wondering. Sorry.
It's
I thought that was
feeding
it. Yeah.
back.
Sorry. I was also not provided a full lunch because I was needed to substitute in multiple classrooms every day. So when normal teachers would have like an hour lunch, I would have to be working in one of the other classrooms. And I was offered zero job stability whatsoever, obviously. On top of that, I was provided little or no lesson plans. In fact, I had no access to any IEP or 504 plans for any of my special ed students, which was shocking to me as a licensed behavior analyst. Luckily, I have a master's degree in behavioral psychology, and I worked for a number of years in clinical work, assisting children with disabilities, which I was able to apply in my work to try to fill the gaps in support. If not for the daily, tireless, and dedicated work of the paraprofessionals in the classroom, I would have been completely incapable to educate my students according to their individual needs. During my work, the programming involved regular interactions with support staff as well, including lunch and office staff and bus drivers. These support staff were a necessary element of their education, and their involvement was invaluable to the children's success in school. I believe that this board has an obligation to support the secondary school staff as equally important as the teachers and administrative staff with regard to Kalamazoo student education. I challenge you to educate a student without the aid of the support staff. It cannot be done. They deserve to be treated with greater respect and appreciation. That's all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. At this time, we will have comments by trustees. Trustee Jackson.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all that came to the mic to express your concerns on tonight. I also wanted to take this opportunity to just follow up with something that Dr. Slade mentioned on tonight in his presentation, far as the importance of the lines of communication and following that chain of command there. And so I just wanted to let you all know that there is, and this is really as a reminder, there is a KPS contact guide that is on our website, and there's also some out on the table, so you are welcome to grab one that will give you the proper person to contact in various situations or scenarios. So if it was with athletics, it would tell you who you contact first, who you contact last. And if you notice, the Board of Education is not mentioned on this sheet because the protocol is to happen that you are dealing with the challenges within the confines of the school district. And so the superintendent is the final person to contact. And of course, if there is a situation that you feel that you need to express beyond the superintendent, that's when it will come to the Board of Education. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Trustee McGlynn.
I also want to thank everybody that came today, and I just wanted to point out, as one of the newer people on the board, that tonight we did talk a lot about academically talented programs and what that means to the district. But I know these people sitting up here are passionate about every child, and they are looking out for the best interests of every child. Those are the conversations we have constantly. So yes, that includes our academically talented kids. It includes our kids that struggle. You have tons of advocates on this board for kids that struggle. It's not easy. There's no easy answers to that, but we are working on that. And getting input is so important. So we appreciate you being here. We appreciate listening to what you have to say. And I also just want to commend the people on this board that really do care about all kids.
Trustee Shola Barber.
I guess I'll start with a couple things, and one of them is that each meeting we have a focus. Each meeting we have a different focus of what we present on. And I'm trying to think of, maybe it was 5, 6 meetings ago, we did the homeless education or the homeless population. But each meeting we have a focus. It doesn't mean that when we do this focus, we ignore the others. There's a lot of things going on in KPS concurrently. And so, yes, I also appreciate the input. I appreciate the concern. I appreciate the passion. We can't hear you unless you speak to us. That is really, really important. But in the same token, as Trustee McGlynn had said, that this board is an extraordinarily caring board, and there are many, many, many programs that we're aware of, or many programs that we have. Just because we highlighted one at one meeting does not mean that there's a dissolution or forgetting or an eliminating of those other programs. They're all concurrent, much like Early Middle College is concurrent to CAMSI and the like. Moving on from there, again, appreciate all your comments, listening intently. I want to start this with a little bit of a congratulations. We have a new director of curriculum, and that is Dr. Angela Justice, and that was just approved this evening as well. And so she has been our interim, so thank you so much, Dr. Justice, as well as a congratulations to a Jamian Gardner, who was the interim at Phoenix and is now the principal of Phoenix High School. A couple things happened in the past. Well, let me go here. I'll just remind everyone that our students, all our students, are talented in various ways and do wonderful, wonderful things. There's examples always in to view this, and one of those this weekend will be Oliver at, it's going to be at Lincoln International Studies School, but it is Maple Street's theater program that is putting it on. There's a chance to see it on Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening, as well as Sunday. And every time you go to one of these, at least every time I go to one of these, I am so amazed at the diversity, at the ability, at the courage, if you will, I could not do this, of these student performances. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that this past week, I went to a National Association of School Boards Conference with some of my fellow trustees. And I think it's very, very important to let the community know what we are doing and how we are utilizing this conference money and why we go. And one of the reasons we go is because we're lifelong learners. You cannot be disingenuous to children about learning if you don't learn yourself. Same token, I think it's also, there are more urban districts with our type of dilemmas, challenges, hurdles, as well as joys. At the national level, there's not very many urban districts in the state of Michigan. So to summate this, not to be lengthy, there were great sessions. I went to sessions on race and privilege, affirmative action. Ruby Bridges spoke, was brilliant. Engaging families, advocacy for families, family school partnerships. Tim Shriver did a wonderful presentation on the Dignity Index, which follows suit very much with our policy on public participation. There were affirmative action sessions, the litigation about social media. Many districts are banding together and are doing these lawsuits against large social media companies and the progress that's going on that. Also with PFAS, large litigation for schools that have been victimized by PFAS. The Heritage Program, creating equitable outcomes for Black students. AI was a big one, and AI, as opposed to being a monstrous or to be feared, really can be an asset for teachers in the classroom as well as administrators. And then one of the last sessions that I went to was put on by Rick Stiggins. And Rick Stiggins, his home is at Michigan State originally, and now he's out in Oregon. But he very much has a program about giving students the confidence to learn, empowering the students to be in charge. Not that it's given to them, but it's a team situation. That was a brilliant session. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm sure that my fellow trustees will mention something about it also. Lastly, I really want to make a big deal about the sports program, as I do many times at these meetings. Sports are a real equal opportunity. It doesn't matter at all as far as we have many students that are participating and doing incredible things. A couple announcements that I want to make are, on last Saturday, the track team at Kalamazoo Central went to Ypsilanti to attend a meet of 20 schools. Our boys took second and our girls took fourth. Varsity baseball has had a great start. They are 3-0. That is at Kalamazoo Central. And then Loy Norix. Let's see, let me get to this in my phone. Let's see, where did the Loy Norix one? Okay, this one's lengthy, but this just shows you the fervor and the dedication of athletic directors and coaches. And you witnessed this wonderful example of Kayla this evening. So the women's soccer at Loy Norix is on fire. With an 8-0 Mercy Rule win over Sturgis and Springport, the conference play is going well. The SMAC soccer conference for women is one of the top in the state. The men's track is now 2-0. They won over Battle Creek Central and Lakeview. This is the first time in memory that we won over Lakeview, and the score was a close 82-81. Sophomore Jalen Moten made the decision to run track after dunking a basketball all winter. In his first meet, in his first season on the team, he jumps 6'4", high jumps 6'4". He long jumps 21-6, which was an outstanding qualifying standard for Michigan High School Athletic Association. He also is a part of that 800 relay team. The women's track team defeated Battle Creek to start a 1-1 situation. There will be a field invitational. Don Lukens was a legendary track coach at Loy Norix. Matter of fact, when I was coaching track at Otsego, Don Lukens was one of my mentors. And so April 26th, there will be 38 teams there for the Don Lukens Field and Track and Field Invitational. Softball team Loy Norix picked up 2 nice wins at Comstock Park on Tuesday. The Women's Tennis Invitational is this Saturday and will feature both the Knights and the Giants. And on the 14th People's Choice Award on Tuesday, May 14th, will be at Loy Norix High School. Again, The reason for doing this is to show the equity for all our students. We have good readers, not good readers, good students, not so good students, or into academics and not. This athletic program that we have brings, and many of our students come just to do that. Thank you very much.
Trustee Hill.
I just want to announce that I got to see the kickoff of the Derek Jeter Field. I guess it's not a kickoff, it's a softball, baseball playoff. Trustee Jackson was also there, and it was lovely. It was an exhibition games between Lower Norks and Kalamazoo Central. Also, I want to thank Mary Andrews, the air quality person from the KPCA that spoke with us tonight and kept us informed of what's going on. And I work at a college, and that textbooks happen to be a thing that was at our meeting today, and they've started putting them in the library. Now, our students are between 18 and 26, and they can have transportation, and they also live close on campus, so that makes it easy for them to get to the library in the evening after school to get at a book. So that probably might not work for all of our students, but I bet we can get creative and find ways to get textbooks for the students attending college classes somewhere close where they could pick it up. I'm going to challenge our creativity on that one. Also, early exposure to careers is very important, and I think it's key that people know what's out there so that when they get to early middle college, like Dr. McCain or Mr. McCain mentioned, that they know what they want to do, because it's hard to figure out what you want to do. I wiggled around a little before I became a nurse, and so I want to give a shout out to career fairs that are in our middle schools and high schools, but also Prairie Ridge is having a career fair, and that's one of our elementaries. So early exposure and often is I think, a key. So thank you.
Trustee Murphy.
Thank you. Just going to bounce off a couple things that other trustees have said. As Trustee Hill was just mentioning, exposure to careers is essential. One of my kids did not want to go to college at all. My youngest just absolutely was like, after high school, I'm done. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm done. And then found out that CTE and early middle college were a thing, and said, okay, I'm going to open my own grooming business, and I'll get a degree in business and be my own business owner, small business owner, and I'm going to groom pets. All right, do that. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to do anything, just one additional year. Do that. And then discovered that she really, really liked animal science through the agri-science CTE, and then went on to the vet science CTE, and was exposed to not only the health occupation sciences, but also FFA. Two completely not related things, but has competed in both this year, and went to states in both. Well, she went to FFA states and is going to health occupation science states in Traverse City in a couple weeks. And has also decided to take advantage of the MSU 6 credits for completing the CTE in vet science. That's available when you do an associates in science. That's available through the EMC program. And then have the Kalamazoo Promise available to do 145 credits. It's not 100% paid for, but it's significantly more. And yes, as was mentioned, the books. The first year in EMC, we did have to pay for books, but we haven't since, and this is her third year. So 2 years of not paying for books has been a whole lot cheaper, especially at community college. And she will walk with her class when she graduates this year. She will have her high school diploma. she gets to walk, but she'll go to college and she'll finish out her year next year, her 5th year, and it's significantly more than I had access to 24 years ago. It's not bad. It's great. It's amazing. It's incredible. And she's super stoked because she gets to play with cats and dogs, and then she doesn't have to clean up after them. I mean, what more could you want to get paid for? And she's already got 2 certifications. So even though she's not even 18 yet, when she turns 18, she can get a job and gain work experience working through all of the things. Like, these are things that we have here that other school districts don't have. You can pivot, you can do things, they're available, and you don't have to have a 3.5. You don't have to. Just let your kids know that you can talk, that they can talk to their counselor. You don't have to do it. They have to. They talk to their counselor. Okay, so there's that. I am so glad to hear that there are going to be so many community feedback sessions and going out to the schools so that folks can go to the schools that are near them and be with their local community and their teachers and the admins for the the SWAT sessions. That has been something that has always been told to me whenever I talk to people in my neighborhood, in the school community. How do we tell people? Go to them. And I'm so glad. So thank you so much for communicating and emailing and posting and telling everybody. In my shoes, doing a ride-along, I would love to. I don't know that everyone can, but I would love to do a ride-along and see what it's like for a day or 2. I definitely led a Girl Scout troop for a couple years, so I know. An hour is a lot. Once a week. It's a lot. So yes, absolutely. And then as Trustee Scholler-Barber mentioned, I also did go to NSBA, and I also learned a ton. You would believe me if I told you that I cried a couple times. 70 years ago, NSBA did not agree with integration of public schools. And this year, the CEO of NSBA publicly apologized to Ruby Bridges. And that video is online. And I was there to see it. And the CEO of NSBA is a Black woman. And she apologized to Ruby Bridges. So yeah, I cried. I 100% did. I also had the opportunity to go to a session about amplifying Native student voices, in which I got to see the 4th-ranked youth hoop dancer perform. Talk about representation. Went to a session about education for liberation. That was great. Board members' role in budget development. It really reinforced my role as treasurer. Building facilities to meet the unique needs of our students, about taking a look at our facilities as we do upgrades. And my favorite slide was the last slide right before the session ended at 4 p.m. on Sunday. They took inspiration from Kansas City when they redid their bathrooms. Rather than build 2 separate restroom facilities, they built individual stalls with individual doors. And then the sink area was common, so that they could be easily observable, They were still secure. Each student still had privacy, but they were unisex restrooms. And they, like, how else do we, I can't imagine, like, we already have that on planes, on trains, at the mall. We have that, so why can't we do that in schools? Something to think about. And then came home and immediately came here, pretty much. Flew all day Tuesday, had Wednesday off, and now I'm here. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Trustee Johnson, you got anything? So I won't be long. Wanted to make sure that the community has no hesitation in coming out to the strategic plan meetings that are scheduled. Would love to make sure that everyone that has a desire to contribute does not miss the opportunity to do such. Want to reinforce the problem-solving chain of command. You can find that information, as Trustee Jackson said, right on the website. Wanted to tell all the students that are returning back to their home schools tomorrow that you did a magnificent job staying diligent with the testing schedule that you had. I hope that you were able to do well. Am grateful that our summer school has eliminated the fee for summer school. I'm looking forward to as many students as needed taking advantage of that opportunity. Wanted to congratulate Ms. Dillard on all of her athletic, but more importantly, her academic accomplishments. Am looking forward to, with the ending of the women's college collegiate season and watching women do some amazing things, want to just encourage her to continue to do amazing things. I'm looking forward to the Safe Summer, oh, she's gone. Looking forward to the Safe Summer Committee. And then want to give a big shout out to Kamsi. I had the opportunity to pour some extra love and attention into that program, and I'm really looking forward to the expansion and innovation, especially through an equity lens that's going to come as a result of all of the hard work of the people at Kamsi. And finally, with Trustee Schroller-Barber and Trustee Murphy, I did also attend the national conference. To say that I am exhausted is an understatement. I definitely am going to reimagine how I attend conferences in the future. Was really excited. I have had conversations with the national the CEO at NSBA. I've had many conversations with her, and I'm looking forward to having more conversations with her, but really was able to look at her in a new light as she apologized to Ruby Bridges. That was probably one of the more reaffirming moments for me and why I do this work. I enjoy going to conferences at a national level because it allows me the opportunity to see people that have found innovative ways to combat academic challenges. If you know me or if you don't, one of what motivates me is the potential that children have in having a good academic foundation. And so to see other people that are in high poverty areas experience high academic success is something that is really, it's why I do this work. So I'm looking forward to bringing the things that I learned from other places, from other areas that are doing more with less. I'm looking forward, after we finish with the SWOT analysis, I'm looking forward to what this district will be with the new strategic plan. The last thing that I want to do is give a big congratulations to Dr. Justice. This district has a very, very silent hero in Dr. Justice, and I think that there was a few years ago that I kind of told you guys the magnetism of Dr. Justice. So the fact that she is in charge of making sure that all children have a good, solid academic foundation means everything to me. I want to thank you for all of the work that you've done silently, and I look forward to supporting you as any way that this board can, because I know that the best interest of all students is your best interest. And so I really look forward to the amazing things that we're going to do academically. I really look forward to this district setting the tone of what can be done in high poverty areas with a good academic foundation, and look forward to having conversations on a global level as people try to reimagine what education looks like for all students. So, Dr. Slade, do you have anything?
Just wanted to thank, I know she left, I wanted to thank Magic D for publicly agreeing to participate and possibly co-chair with me. And I do want to just quickly say, what I'm talking about is it's not Kalamazoo Public Schools, it's just us starting up something else. So it's not going to be a Kalamazoo Public Schools project, it's just going to be something we start to do in the best interest of children. And I can't end without thanking Dr. Dyson, Dr. Justice, everybody else who has been coming to Saturday School every single week, all those staff members, all those teachers, all those students, all those parents. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
I need a motion to adjourn this meeting, please. I have a motion from Trustee Johnson to adjourn this meeting. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second from Trustee Hill and Trustee Murphy. With that being said, I hope that you all have a good evening, and we will see you back in this space on the 25th of April at 7 p.m.